Hey guys, it's Lawrence Presman, the Prez Monday. The Betting Edge with the Prez. Marco D'Angelo's joining us. We are both co-founders of WagerTalk Media. I'm told by the phone call screener that answers the calls for when my guests call in that Marco is in a foul, antsy, hungry. He's in a hungry mood. So that would make him a little bit irritable. He wants to bitch. It's the NFL Week 10 early look. Marco and I are going to take apart every game quickly, but let's bring him in. And you know what, guys? Let's listen to him bitch for a bit. Marco D'Angelo, Tampa Bay.
Prez, congratulations on your recent run. You're doing well, but as I said, I need to vent. I listened to you vent for like 7-8 weeks of the season to start. I mean, I used to get updates, by the turnover text.
I had a lot of good turnovers for me yesterday.
No shit. Yeah. Oh, I didn't look to see who you had.
I pounded Seattle.
I'm going to pound you right in the fucking face right now. I had
Seattle minus 5.5. Easy winner.
All right.
I did not have Seattle.
Oh, I was going to say, okay, because, anybody that did have Seattle, stand up right now, reach around behind yourself, and pull the horseshoe out of your ass, because that was the worst beat of the year for me with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'll get to that in a second. It set the stage for the weekend for me, Prez. I had the Dallas Mavericks Friday night. I've only had 2 NBA plays so far this season. I've been very selective. First one was a winner. And the second one was winning for the entire ball game. I had Dallas +2. They jump out to a double-digit lead at the beginning of the game, in control the whole game, gets tight late. Lakers make a run. Prez, 6 seconds left. I'm +2, and Dallas is up 3. Pretty good situation, right? The defender leaves the guy on the corner for the 3 to collapse inside to double team LeBron. They're down 3.
Question.
Yes.
Are we going to have to hear a summary of all your losses this week?
No, just this,
okay.
Just this one in Tampa.
Okay,
but you don't leave a 3-pointer wide open to go collapse to LeBron if they're going to throw it to him inside, because it's only good for 2. So, yes, naturally, they drill the 3, tie it, go to overtime, and they lose by 7 or 9 in overtime. So I lose that play to set the stage for the weekend. And, Prez, did you seriously watch Seattle-Tampa yesterday?
I didn't watch 1 second of it. I am watching it tonight. I watch Monday nights. I go through all the games I didn't see. But before you get into the Tampa Bay game.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your 5-unit play on Utah on Saturday. So no matter how much you bitch, you pulled another great 5% play out of your ass. You have been killing it in football this year. I'm so sorry you lost on Dallas on Friday night. My heart breaks over your Tampa Bay loss yesterday. You are killing it, dude.
I did lose. Full disclosure, I did lose a 5% play on the Bears yesterday. They just
that play annoyed the shit out of me. Do you want to know why?
Did you have Chicago?
God, no. So here's my problem, Marco. As you know, me and you have access to the back end of WagerTalk and Sports Memo, and as a result, we can see everybody's plays. We know what everybody is doing. Not only that, but both you and I are on videos all week, and we hear what people are doing. And I have a lot of respect for everybody but you. And Gianni, who is as good as it gets, was our $2 Tuesday handicapper, and he had a big play on Chicago. We made a shit ton of sales, and Chicago needed to win for the betterment of WagerTalk. Me, on the other hand, I loved Philadelphia. And out of respect to you and Gianni, I did not release Philadelphia to my clients. I loved the Chargers. Do you know that Tony Finn is is over 70%? This is not a joke. He is over 70% in NFL this year. 70. He is 7-2 in his 5-unit plays. The guy sees NFL like I see this beauty when I look in the mirror. He loved Green Bay, so I didn't release the Chargers. I loved Houston. Ralph loved Jacksonville, so I didn't release Houston. Somewhere in the middle of my 3-0 that I didn't release is a finger to the three of you guys. And yet I still had a 3-1 day yesterday in NFL because I'm seeing it. Okay,
Yeah,
bitch about Tampa Bay and let's get into the show.
It just, as everybody knows, Tampa Bay was getting, depending when you bet it during the week, anywhere from 5 to 6 points from Seattle, and they led, most of the game. They fell behind at the end of the game finally by 7, but went down the field and tied it with a minute something left. I was hoping they were going to go for 2 because neither team was stopping the other team in the second half and take their shot right there. They didn't. Left 40 seconds for the Seahawks to come down, which was fine. They can come down and kick the field goal. And they got in position for that 40-yard field goal, which would have made it a 3-point game. Seattle wins. Everybody's happy. We cash our ticket. And the guy misses his second field goal of the game, shanks it, 40-yard field goal. Also, he missed an extra point during the game. And Tampa missed a field goal during the game. So you add up any one of those missed kicks they make, I win my bet. No, we go to overtime.
Yeah, and then in overtime, Seattle scored. They covered by 6, and Marco's an idiot because he didn't put his play out early in the week and lost. Okay, that's the summary of it. I'd like to show you something, Marco.
Oh, please.
Carmine Bianco, who is on a 17-3 NHL run. Dude, this guy is an incredible gambler. Like, forget about handicapping and putting out plays. I mean, he bet over 58 on Lamar Jackson last night, cashed the ticket. I mean, this guy pulls parlays out of his toches. He's in Vegas. He lays $100 bet.
Yeah, word has it. I heard that was his wife, Stacia, that did that.
Yeah. See where it says Tampa Bay?
Oh, yeah.
See, plus
okay,
6.5.
She had a winning ticket, I heard.
6.5. Yeah. See,
6.5. Got it early.
Yeah. That's the moral of the story, Marco D'Angelo, co-founder.
Well, you know what happened? Carmine was at the videos, and he heard my brilliant breakdown of the Tampa Bay game on Bet On It, and he went and bet on it right away, and I was still stuck at the studio getting the stuff done, putting the ads together and final production. I didn't get out of there till 5:30, 5:45 on Saturday, and the line was gone.
Marco,
what can
we're
I say?
9 minutes into the show. We haven't discussed one damn thing.
Well, let's start. Let's do it.
Okay. Chargers. As I said, I love them. If you listen to the NFL presidential address, which is the single best handicapping show in the world. It's not the most watched handicapping show, but then, hey, that's how it works, dude. I mean, the Foo Fighters are probably the greatest band that is still playing music today, yet Shawn Mendes is the most popular. The NFL presidential address, the greatest NFL show in history of the world, yet Bet On It is still more popular. It's the masses, dude. People eat McDonald's. They listen to Justin Bieber. They drink Coke. Chargers, +1 going into Oakland. And you know what, dude? I'm really impressed with this Oakland team. They really looked good yesterday. They held Detroit. Goal line stand, interception in the end zone. Another goal line stand for the victory. They're getting it done. With that said, the Chargers are the play here, Marco. This Chargers team, I told everybody in the NFL presidential address that they do this every year. Phillip Rivers looks out of sync every year for the first 6 games, and then they rattle off 10 in a row. They just dominated Green Bay. I mean, they had Aaron Rodgers dead to rights from start to finish. I think they're going to do the same to Derek Carr. I think the Chargers are the bet in this game, Marco. I'm just curious where you think the line is going to go.
Well, we've seen where the line's going already. The look-ahead line was a pick 'em on this, and we've seen the line move to the Chargers 1. Both teams coming off wins. Obviously, the Chargers coming off the win over Green Bay is going to look way more impressive than Oakland beating the Lions. And no disrespect to our good friend Johnny Detroit, but the Lions are the Lions. They find ways to lose. And yes, let's give Oakland credit. They played well. Yes, they got that goal line stop at the end of the game. But the Lions just put themselves in positions to make stupid plays at stupid times, and they did a few of those yesterday, cost them again. I'm looking at this one short week, and you alluded to the fact that Oakland's playing a lot better than most people expected. We all thought that this was going to be a 3-year project with Gruden when he came on board, with that third year, the year that they actually moved to Vegas, where we're going to see that big jump. I'd say they're a year ahead of schedule of where I thought they would be. So there is some excitement in Oakland, and if you saw Gruden at the end of the game, man, he ran to the sidelines and went to the black hole and was, high-fiving and congratulating, fans and stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you have great rah-rah when you're leaving the city in a few more games. So, but there is an excitement there, but the Chargers are a better organization, I feel, at this point in time. Maybe not head coaching, give the edge to Gruden here, but I do like the Chargers with Phillip Rivers. I think they'll be able to get the job done. The Chargers can't afford another misstep if they're going to take a shot at catching Kansas City. Obviously, Raiders still in the hunt with their surprise season, but Kansas City, with the injury with Mahomes going down and facing Green Bay and Minnesota, if you would have told them that they would go 1-1 without Mahomes, I think Kansas City would be very happy where they're at right now. I'm going to look at Chargers. I think that'll be the side, and I think that's where the money will come on Thursday. And one note, Prez, people always talk about the advantage home teams have on Thursday nights. That's true. It is a big advantage. But when it's a division game, it's a foe that you face twice a year, every year. It's not as big of an advantage because they don't need as much prep time to prep for the game. It's those teams that don't face that team, and then they only have the 3 days to prep. It's a disadvantage losing that travel day. So not as big of a deal in this one. Note that. Chargers are going to be where the money will go.
And not only that, just to add to that, the Chargers play 16 road games. So ultimately, they're as comfortable on the road as any team. Kansas City going into Tennessee, Marco, and there's already a lineup. Kansas City at -3.5 with a 48.5 on board. I got nothing here. I got to wait for the injury reports to come out.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there was a lot of speculation that Mahomes was, thinking about playing last week. They waited till last minute to make that announcement, whether it was a smoke screen or whatever. But, he looked to be moving pretty good at the end of the game yesterday when he ran on the field to celebrate with his team after the game-winning field goal. And I actually said to my buddy Siggs in town, I looked at him and I said, boy, that'd be nice. Calm down, Mahomes. Throw your knee out again, celebrating the win on a game that you weren't even in because you're hurt.
Grammatica?
Yeah, do the Grammatica. Tampa Bay Bucks, one of the greatest moments in field goal kicking history. But yeah, you look at that one, and as far as the line went here, Prez, the look-ahead line was 3.5, and obviously we didn't know which quarterback was going to be playing last week at that time, let alone this week, and it still opened up at 3.5 today. So I think this is a good number, and it's a number that tells me they expect Mahomes to be back this week and go from there. Again, Tennessee, just a disappointing game for Tennessee yesterday, losing to Carolina by 10. Don't know what to say on this one. Kansas City, I don't like to go against this team the way that offense clicks, but this is a team that their defense is bad. And from a situational standpoint, I'll wait till later in the week. But if Mahomes does come back, That's where we talk about the injured player theory, how you take a team when the star's out that first game because you have everybody trying harder. Prez, when he comes back, sometimes there's just the flip side of that because emotionally and mentally, they go, oh, all right, man, our guy's back. All right, we got through the injury. We got this. And they have a little bit of a mental letdown. And Tennessee can run the football. They can do some damage against this Kansas City defense and play keep away. So this is one where I'm going to watch and see what happens. But I would think I would find myself on the home dog. And speaking of home teams yesterday, Prez, did you see that with the exception of the London game, the home teams covered every game this week? Every single game.
About time, right?
Yeah. I know the average players probably had good weeks this week. There's a lot of people that just play home teams.
I played 4 totals. I went 3-1. The only total I lost was the under in Tennessee. Guys, it's Marco D'Angelo's birthday week, Wednesday.
I heard you're flying to town just for my birthday.
Yeah, what are we doing Wednesday night?
I don't know. We'll see what the wife has planned for me with my birthday.
Okay,
you know,
so 5 minutes with the wife, and then what?
Yeah, well,
5 minutes with the wife twice.
Hey, you know I love horse racing, and what's the biggest saying for the biggest race in horse racing?
Oh, I hate horse racing. I don't even want. I think it's the stupidest thing. It's like hamster racing. It just.
Like the Kentucky Derby, the greatest 2 minutes in sports.
Yeah,
just
leave
it there.
That's what Lori says about Wednesday night.
Yeah, and I got it. And unless it happens before Thursday, Prez, we got a new baby on board in the D'Angelo household. My stepdaughter's having her first grandchild.
Oh,
yeah. If it comes before Thursday,
wait a minute. You're going to be a step-great-grandfather?
Grandfather. That's my stepdaughter. Yeah.
You said your stepdaughter is having her first grandchild.
No, Lori's having her first child. Okay. So this will be my. Yeah, this will be my
Grandpa
yes.
Marco D'Angelo. Buffalo and Cleveland. This Cleveland team is a total freaking mess. Oh, I honestly thought they would get the job done yesterday. I did not bet it, so it didn't matter to me. I don't think Buffalo is much better. I mean, look, I get it. Their record is amazing, but this team just struggles to move the ball. I think this 41 as the total is just going to keep dropping. I think if you're going to bet the under, you got to bet it right the hell now. As for Cleveland at 2.5, I think it's going to stay around the same. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. If you're going to bet the under, that the time to do it is now. And Prez also going to say, if you're betting unders, unless it is one of the primetime TV games, you're better off at this time of the year to bet the unders early in the week because if you like the under, more than likely, you're going to have weather issues start to happen at certain parts of the country as we move the calendar to November. So at a game like this that you already like the under, if we get to the weekend and you got some, ill weather, you could end up seeing this line drop another point or so. Yeah. So if you want the unders, yes, this is the time of the year to get ahead of it. But I say if it's a primetime game, we always say wait till late. You're going to get the best number because the public just doesn't like to bet unders. But with this game, Prez, Cleveland, you are absolutely correct. It's a train wreck. The early look-ahead number was 2.5. It's currently 2.5. No movement from there, even though Buffalo won and Cleveland got, again, it was a close loss, but that's an embarrassing loss. You go to Denver, who has no offense. You had a quarterback that has never taken a snap in the NFL before, starting the game, and to have them put the points up, that was, I think, the highest point total that Denver had this year in that game. Things aren't good. Baker Mayfield is absolutely regressing from last year. And, second year, you've seen tape on him and everything. People are adjusting, and he's just not making the throws. Right now, I don't know who's a bigger disappointment for their teams, Mayfield or Trubisky. I'd probably go with Trubisky. But this one, Buffalo, they got back on track yesterday. It was not an impressive win, Prez, but they did what they needed to do. They bounced back off of their worst game of the season, and they beat a team that they were supposed to beat, held them in check. They have no offense. They had a first-year quarterback making his first start. in Haskins from the Ohio State quarterback. I want no part of Cleveland right now. This is a team that you can't back them, but do you trust Buffalo on the road? I still say Buffalo's got the defense. We'll see what happens. Freddie Kitchens, if I had to ask you right now, do you think this is a one and done?
I don't think he makes it to the end of the season. Guys, yeah. Buffalo under. So I've put my short list together. I did a lot of research late last night, and Buffalo under the total is on my short list. So if I were you guys, I would go bet it today. And look, if you change your mind, just bet out of it later. I think this number is going down to 39.5. So I think you're going to see a good 1.5 point line move. And like Marco said, you know, Northeast Cleveland, the weather in Cleveland could be a disaster. I mean, we could get this thing down to 38 if we've got a lot of wind. So head over to your sports book, call your bookie, and get down on that under ASAP. Marco, I'm on a 24-12 all sports run. I'm 9-3 in my last 12 NFL plays. I have a flash sale going today. It's 1 day only. So please tweet it out. Prez 199, 1 month for all of my plays. I'm rolling in hockey as well. Prez 199. I'm going to do a scroll change and to Andrew McGinnis. Marco, do you this kid? What a find!
On fire. Jesus.
I mean, dude, he sells over at Sports Memo, our sister site, WagerTalk sister site, and I think he broke the record for the month of sales at that website. So congratulations to him. And he's sitting in November on a 60-37 all sports run. But dude, he started NBA 14-1. So I've got a promo up for all of you guys. Just check the bottom of the screen. Marco, Tampa Bay's made my short list as well. And I actually think I will be playing Tampa Bay this weekend. You know, they did well for me yesterday. I was going to play them. And then I saw that you played them. So I did not play them. So you kept me off of Philadelphia, but you also kept me off of Tampa Bay for the complete opposite reason. Tampa Bay minus 4.5, 5, 4. I mean, there's a 4 at Bookmaker, a 4 at Heritage, a 4.5 at William Hill, a 5 at South Point. We've got a total of anywhere between 52.5 and 53.5. I think this line is going to remain around the same. I think it's going to be between 4 and 5 all the way through. I like Tampa Bay a lot in this game.
Well, you know, Tampa Bay on talent, definitely the better team here of the two, but we've got a lot of situations going on here. You've got Tampa Bay, who is returning home after we talked about Oakland yesterday in the schedule that they had. Look at Tampa Bay, Prez. You go back to the end of September. They were at the Rams, at New Orleans. Then they had the game in London. Then they had their bye week. Then they go to Tennessee. And then they go to Seattle. And now they're coming home. This is a team that's been on the road forever, just like the Raiders. The Raiders come home and got the win. But we got a team, at least the Raiders had some wins while they were out on the road. This team's lost 4 in a row, and they've lost the last couple in gut-wrenching fashion on how they ended up losing the game. So you got to wonder about their mental state. We had, a relatively clean game yesterday, only 1 turnover from Tampa. But my concern is this losing streak and coming home. Now, if you want to take this from the situational standpoint, you're catching catching Arizona in the middle of a San Francisco sandwich. They played San Francisco on Thursday Night Football, played them to the hilt, 28-25, come up just short, and has San Francisco up again next week in a quick turnaround. So we talk about sandwich games all the time. There's not too often that the bread of the sandwich, top and bottom's the same team, Prez, and it happens to be the last undefeated team in the NFL. If that wasn't enough, let's throw one last sidebar here. The coach of Tampa Bay is Bruce Arians. Where did Bruce Arians last coach at, my friend?
You're boring me.
I'm boring you because you don't know the answer.
San Francisco. No, he coached at Arizona, dude, and he did okay at the beginning of his tenure.
At the end, it looked like wore out his welcome, whatever. Team was
I like him,
declining.
dude. I think he's a good coach.
I do. I love. Remember, he was Ben's offensive coordinator for several years. Big Ben loved him in Pittsburgh, and then he went to Indianapolis and then got the job in Arizona. This is a spot where, there's going to be added motivation for him with this game. But you know what? You still got Jameis Winston back there. And this is a guy that could throw 3 picks in a heartbeat. I lean to Tampa Bay because of the situation, Arizona coming off that big game on Thursday night and everything. So I will agree with you, but the public isn't. The look-ahead line on this, Prez, had Tampa Bay at -5.5. And given this week's results, both teams lost. Both teams look good in losing, yet we've seen the line move a point to the Arizona side.
Let's just stop for a second, Marco, because you mentioned the public doesn't agree with me. Brother, the public hasn't made one damn bet yet for Week 10. This is all wise guys, smart money action coming in. 94%, guys, 94% of all NFL bets are made between noon and 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. 94%. So this is all wise guy action. So the smart money is definitely coming in on Arizona. But I never fear with the smart money, Marco. I'm the fucking Prez, man. I'm the Prez.
Oh, man. You know what? You were easier to take when when I had to take all the sharp objects away from you the first 5 weeks of the season, and you were giving me, by the minute updates by text. Yeah.
New York Giants versus the Jets. The line will change depending on tonight, but it came out with an early look of a pick'em, and now you got the New York Giants at -10. The Jets should be ashamed of themselves. Andrew Gaze is a nightmare coach. Him and Freddie Kitchens should go golfing together maybe in a couple of weeks. Let's just pass on this game, dude, because we're running really late. Atlanta going into New Orleans. New Orleans -13. It's now down to -12 with an over and under of 51.5. And I'm done. I will not bet on Atlanta. I will not bet against Atlanta. I will not bet over in an Atlanta game. I will not bet under in an Atlanta game. My hands are clean when it comes to Atlanta. You?
This is a spot where, I agree with you. I don't have any parts of Atlanta. You got a big number with the Saints, and they should be able to just name the score you would think in this one. But, Prez, I'm going to throw out the warning sign for you in this game. And the only thing I'm going to say about it and why I'm putting the warning sign is New Orleans went into the break as hot as you possibly could be. They didn't skip a beat with
Upton hot, baby.
Yeah,
I would say Selena
definitely.
Gomez hot, but man, that almost makes me a pervert.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Well, she's in her
we'll just leave it
now, dude. But I used to salivate over her when she was on Wizards of Waverly Place. And she was like 14.
You know what? Mine TV show one would have been Alyssa Milano when she came up on Who's the Boss and grew up in front of our eyes. And boy, did she grow up.
Dude. Good,
send me the
good
title.
lesbian scenes. Yeah, big fan.
All right.
Maybe Lori can let you watch that
talk
movie.
about getting sidetracked.
Maybe Lori can let you watch that movie on Wednesday night for the 2 minutes that she's playing with you.
Oh, Prez. But here's the thing. This is, when you go into your bye week on a roll like this, to me, it's like a momentum stopper. It's the last thing you want to do. And this is such a big number. No, I don't want any part of Atlanta, but I'm not going to lay this big of a number to a team that can score points. Matt Ryan is supposed to be back this week. Got him listed right now as the starter. So you've got an offense that's going to be able to score points. Do they get in one of those old shootouts with the Saints and end up losing by 10 and still covering because this is insane? To me, it is Atlanta or pass. It'll be a pass, most likely for me.
I agree. Marco, before I get into the next game, I just want to tell everybody, AM225, head over to Sports Memo, get 1 month of Andrew McGinnis's plays for $100 off AM225. He's on a 60-37 All Sports run and a 14-1 NBA run. And also, it's $9 Mondays over at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Every play on the board is $9. I'm boring Marco, which is just fine by me. Yep. I have a 5-unit play up in tonight's football game, and Carmine Bianco, who's on a 17-3 hockey run, has an NHL play up tonight. Now, Marco, I just want a moment of silence as we think about all the people who commented so negatively on Carmine Bianco's Baltimore video that came out of the studios on Wednesday, of all the people who screamed and yelled at the Prez when he told them all that New England had only played Canadian Football League teams and that they would not beat Baltimore. So a moment of silence to all those morons who keep starting with us and never, ever, ever come back and comment later that they were wrong. Now, I understand. A lot of times you're right, listeners, commenters. I get it. We called Baltimore. You told us we're idiots, and you don't come back and apologize. My problem isn't you saying we're wrong. We are wrong come on. Marco was dead wrong on Tampa Bay. I mean, that was just an idiot pick, and he understands, and he wears it. Just apologize. Own your mistakes, you New England crazy lunatics. Some of you were rude to my buddy Carmine. Come here, Carm. Come over. Come. Carm's right here. Carm's right here. It's okay, Carm.
Marco.
It's okay.
Hey, Carm.
It's okay. It's okay that they were mean to you. It's okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. Good pick on Baltimore.
I actually love the comments, man. If they're watching, if they're commenting, they're watching, and that's all that really matters.
I agree. Now get out of my screen.
All right.
Hey, Prez, you know where else they got Baltimore this week?
From the second best sports handicapping show
the
in
most
the world?
watched sports show on YouTube. Bet on it. Not only did I have it, not only did Gianni have it, not only did Kelly, we all had it. We're all over Baltimore. It was a good pick, and it was, fun. And you know what, Prez? But, these guys, I understand it. New England has been that team. They've been that, that asterisk. They've been a freak of nature, so to speak, as far as NFL football goes, because nobody continues not only win, but cover. It's not uncommon to see a bad team that's losing but still covering, because they're losing. People are still betting against them. But when you have a team like New England that the public, is going to pound week after week, and the Vegas books know that, and they keep pumping the lines to try to slow down that New England money, and it still comes and it still gets the money. But this week they couldn't stop it because the sharps outweighed the average guys. This is one of those.
Marco. I mean, to go from 3.5 to 3 even money is a pretty substantial line move. Let's get the show over with, dude. Baltimore -10 against Cincinnati. Guys, I know Marco like I know my hand. Mm-hmm. This is a sandwich spot for Baltimore. It's a bad spot. Cincinnati is off of a bye. They just had a big win. Then they have a big opponent up next, and they're going to overlook Cincy, and they're on the road. And if you're going to play anything, take Cincy plus the 10. Did I do your analysis for you?
You did. It's a very dangerous spot for Baltimore. I don't know that I want to get in front of Baltimore. They are playing well. And the one thing about a team like Baltimore, where when you're laying a bigger number, Prez, and you're taking a team that basically just wants to get in and get out,
Yeah.
what's that usually mean? They're going to run the football. Well, in this case, that is Baltimore's strength. And they could be sitting on a 10-point lead and just trying to get the game over with. But when you've got the best rushing attack, you're doing what you do best. You can try to kill clock and extend the lead. That is my only concern here about stepping in front of Baltimore. But yes, this is a horrible spot for Baltimore. The side is the winless home underdog, Cincinnati Bengals, being a division game, being they're playing the first place team. You nailed the analysis. That's it. Move on to the next game.
I feel it's the same for Carolina here, bro. I mean, they're going into Green Bay. They're plus 5.5. You know, Green Bay is going to be an angry team. They've got incredible home field advantage. Another sandwich situation with Carolina. With that said, I think this game could be close. And, you know, my early look lean is on Carolina here, and I like over the total of 48. I think we're going to see this over. It has dipped a little. If weather stays good, I think we'll see it go up slightly. And I think there's going to be money coming in on Carolina.
There obviously has been money come in on Carolina. The look-ahead line on this game, Prez, was 7. Now, granted, Carolina won yesterday, Green Bay lost. But we know Green Bay is one of the most bet franchises in the NFL, probably second behind New England. Everybody loves that marquee quarterback, and there's not, you know, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, you know, Patrick Mahomes. Those are the, you know, the premier names in the NFL right now when it comes to the quarterback position. So yes, they are going to look to Green Bay to rebound here. Carolina, with the exception of that San Francisco game, they have played well with Allen at quarterback. You know, he's not flashy. He's not going to put up gaudy stats, but generally, with the exception of the San Fran game where they had 3 turnovers, he takes care of the football. He's a good game manager. And I don't think you're going to see Cam Newton anymore this season for Carolina. I don't think you're going to see him anymore for Carolina, period. They're just not going to go with that contract. This is a spot I agree with you. I agree also with the early money. Carolina is the live side. How often do you see Green Bay drop, especially when you're talking about the look ahead was 7 and you're coming off a key number? They brought it out under that key number of 7. Tells me a lot about this game. I think Carolina is a very live dog here. And we talked about the home teams going 11-0. With the exception of the London game. Prez, if you remember going, you know, the first half of this football season, road teams were winning at an unbelievable rate, especially road.
I think it was 68.7 or something like that.
You know that there had to be a point of, you know, regression to come back in there. And we saw some of that because Vegas has to keep adjusting numbers to what the market has been doing. And this is another one where I think the initial move was because of where the season-long numbers are. And the season-long numbers tell me, even though Green Bay's winning and they've covered more than they've lost, Green Bay's gotten lucky in a lot of ball games this year.
Detroit, which we'll talk about next.
Yes. So this is a spot. I agree with you with Carolina. So let's look at that and see where this line goes. I don't know that this is going to be one that's going to continue to go down when the public gets involved. But right now you're sitting at a number where you're not losing really any value if you lose a half a point.
Marco, we're going to talk about the Minnesota-Dallas and the Seattle-San Fran game on our Friday show, even though I'm not on that show because I'll be in Vegas. Playing poker for a few days, vegging out and forgetting about the amount of estrogen that is in my life. Every man needs a break from estrogen 4 days every 2 months. Mine comes this weekend. So we'll leave those games till Friday. You and Jeff Oskheim will be on that show, and either Joe Ranieri or Carmine will be hosting. Detroit versus Chicago, though. I mean, Marco, there's already money coming in on Detroit. This Detroit team, they can't seem to close it out, but I think they're a good football team. I think Chicago is a bad, bad, bad football team. Now, I get it. Their defense is amazing. Understandable. But their defense has to be so freaking pissed off right now. I mean, they are literally rolling Conridge Holloway out at quarterback. Do you know who that is?
Not familiar with him, sir.
Exactly my point.
There you go. Here's the thing on Chicago and the takeaway from yesterday's game. It ended up being an 8-point game. They kicked a field goal at the end when they were trying to run the clock out, but did a little bit of a differential on the clock, so it was 4th and 2. They decided to go ahead and kick the field goal, make it 8. Philadelphia dominated that first half. Dominated. But that first half, offensively, Chicago did nothing. And when I say nothing, I'm not exaggerating. At one point, after 5 drives, Chicago was negative net yards. Yeah. Okay? Now, here's the thing that Philadelphia was aided by in the first half. On one drive alone, Chicago committed 4 penalties that kept the drive going. They had a couple offside penalties, and then on a 4th down when they were getting off the field and not in field goal range, ball's away, and it's an incomplete pass. Guy shoves Carson Wentz, and gets flagged for unnecessary roughness.
I told you the defense is getting frustrated.
They are, and they had the same guy had back-to-back offside penalty, and then you get a frustration hit like that, and then what ends up happening, instead of punting, Philadelphia takes it in for the score. But then after that point, the defense played well, and from the second possession of the second half, Mitchell Trubisky played better, and the Bears played better, but still, you're looking at just garbage numbers. He only completed 10 of 21 passes, low yardage, was getting sacked. He looks like a deer caught in headlights. I was shocked that as bad as the first half was, Nagy didn't make a change. And to me, it shows that what I think it is they just don't want to admit that they screwed this thing up. Going as high as they did. They got questioned when they did it, taking Trubisky in the draft as high as they did when they drafted him. And now if you just throw him on, the garbage pile, it makes you look worse. They're trying to force this guy to be good.
There is some really good news for Chicago fans. They might be able to draft a quarterback high this year. Because the hell they're going to win more than another 3 games. I like Detroit here, Marco. I like Detroit to win this game outright. I think Matthew Stafford's playing the best ball of his career. I think those wide receivers are speedy. And I think although they are struggling to close games out, I think we're watching a sort of changing of the Detroit psyche. I love Matt Patricia. And I think Detroit is a year away, but I predict right now, right here, that Detroit wins the division next year. Miami going into Indianapolis, and I like Miami. The look-ahead line was -16. That was obviously with Jacoby Brissett in. Brian Hoyer didn't look terrible yesterday, but we've seen enough of him throughout his career that this man can go out and single-handedly lose games for his team. Fitzpatrick can do the same, but one thing we know about Miami, and Ralph and I have been speaking about this a lot on the NFL presidential addresses, this team is trying to win. This team is playing hard, and Fitzpatrick is really willing this team to get some points on the board. I'm going to take the 11. I think this line is going to come down, Marco. I think it's going all the way to 9.5.
We'll see if it does. If it does go below that, I'm probably going to get interested in the Indianapolis side. Prez, one thing that has worked like gold this year, and if Jacoby Brissett is indeed out for Sunday, and we'll wait and see for sure on his status, but he left the game yesterday. It wasn't a good situation. They have it as undecided right now. If he doesn't go, the injured player theory has been like gold.
Yep.
And it did it again
Brandon
yesterday.
Allen.
The Denver Broncos. I'm not going to step in front of something that's been gold. And I
Yeah,
realize
you are,
Miami
'cause
is
I don't
totally.
think you're playing Cincinnati this Sunday.
Well, now here's a difference though, Prez. That is a totally different situation. When it's a switch because of a guy sucking, that's not the injured player theory. It's only
Okay,
when
fair
the
enough.
backup is forced
Fair
in.
enough.
So not there. But if it is the backup and Miami did get their win, even though it was against the Jets, you might have a little pressure off Miami. They might not try quite as hard, but they are definitely trying much more since they reinserted Fitzpatrick back in. What that says is at least the organization is telling them, okay, hey, we're not tanking, but yeah, they are still tanking. One win's going to get them the number one pick.
Rams versus Pittsburgh. Go ahead. Just finish the show because I'm sick of talking to you and I want to go and eat.
Prez, this is a tough one to call. You've got the Rams coming off their bye week. Obviously, they've got a much more polished offense than we saw from Indianapolis, although Indianapolis played well yesterday. And the one thing Indianapolis does have, and that goes back to whoever does quarterback for them this week, Indianapolis may have the best offensive line in football right now. This offensive line is super good. Protects the quarterback, gets the running game going, gives them time to throw. The Rams' offensive line's not the same. Pittsburgh, they've got a new life right now. They should have lost yesterday's game if Vinatieri does not miss that field goal, which he makes, 95% of the time in his sleep.
Not this year.
They lose. Not this year, but you know what, Prez? He had that horrible game at the beginning of the season, and then yesterday with the misses. But in between, he had been real, and he nailed a 50-plus field goal in the game yesterday. So just was a bad spot for him. Yeah, you're 46 years old. You're going to have, Father Time is going to catch up to you eventually. So that's the Vinatieri story. But Pittsburgh here, they got to 500 yesterday, Prez. This is a team that the way they started the season and, at 1-3, or excuse me, at 0-3, and then they finally got their first win against Cincinnati. Be at 500 within 2 games of Baltimore they have, let's call it false hope. They think they can still get there. So until they lose that next game, Pittsburgh is always dangerous at home, and now they're going to be an underdog. They were coming off a short week yesterday. Be careful. Pittsburgh, this might end up being a pros versus Joes game where the Joes take the Rams and the pros take Pittsburgh is that home underdog scenario. And Tomlin in his career has done poorly against inferior teams, but when he's, been an underdog, he's been a good play. And Pittsburgh is a home underdog. That's a rarity. And about the only time that ever happens is if an injury to Big Ben or they're playing New England. That's about it. And you got the Rams doing that on the road. Have the Rams really been that dominant this year? Be careful with it. This is a game that I'm going to look long and hard at because I've had good success going with and against Pittsburgh, but this just might be a little bit too automatic to grab the Rams.
I agree, my friend. Marco, see you on Wednesday, brother. Missy just texted me during the show saying that we're flying Andrew McGinnis down to do some videos. He's Canadian. Does he need a passport when flying into America?
Yes.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean, no, he just waves at the security guard. I'm Andrew McGinnis. I'm on a 14-1 NBA run. No passport required. Later, guys. Thanks, Marco.
Missy's going to be thrilled you called her out on this video.
She won't get to this part of the video, and nor will almost anyone else.
Yeah, not if I send her a text.
Later, do it. Later, buddy.
All right.